Someone in your life is using you. They may not even know they're doing it, but you know something's off, and you keep letting it happen. That stops today. If teachings like this are what you need, subscribe right now. Drop in the comments, "I choose my response." That's your declaration. Like the video, it tells me to keep making content this real. Now let's get into it. There's a guy. Let's call him Daniel, smart man, hard-working. He had a business partner who constantly questioned his decisions in front of clients, who'd guilt-trip him when he set a deadline, who'd call him too rigid every time Daniel said no to something unreasonable. And every single time Daniel explained himself, justified himself, bent himself. He thought he was being reasonable, being mature, being the bigger man. He wasn't. He was being manipulated. The man who must constantly explain his no has already lost the boundary. Manipulation doesn't always look like abuse. Sometimes it looks like guilt. Sometimes it looks like someone playing the victim every time you try to hold your ground. Sometimes it's someone who makes you feel crazy for wanting basic respect. The Stoics had a name for the internal war this creates. They called it perturbatio, a disturbance of the soul, and they built an entire philosophy to end it. Epictetus, a man who was literally born a slave, built his entire philosophy on one idea that powerful men across centuries have come back to over and over. Some things are in our power and others are not. In our power are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion. Not in our power are our body, our property, reputation, office. Translation: you cannot control whether someone tries to manipulate you. You cannot control their guilt trips, their passive aggression, their shifting standards. But you can control completely, totally, absolutely your response. Between stimulus and response there is space. In that space is your power. Most men lose their boundaries not because they're weak, but because they never learn to use that space. Someone pushes and they react. Someone guilt trips and they cave. Someone disrespects them and they either explode or collapse. The Stoic move: pause, identify what's yours to control, act from there and only from there. Your boss undermines you in a meeting. Your immediate instinct is anger, heart rate up, jaw tight. Before you speak a single word, ask yourself, what is actually in my control right now? Your tone, your clarity, your next move, not his behavior, yours. Respond from that place and you remain undefeatable. Here's the part nobody wants to hear. A lot of men let manipulation continue not because they don't see it, but because they're afraid of what enforcing a boundary will cost them. A relationship, approval, the image of being the good guy. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, not for fame, not for an audience, in his private journal. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The man who craves approval more than he craves integrity will always be someone else's instrument. Memento mori, remember you will die, isn't just about mortality, it's a tool to cut through the noise. Will this person's opinion of you matter in 10 years? Are you sacrificing who you are to be liked by someone who doesn't truly respect you? A family member makes passive-aggressive comments about your choices, your career, your lifestyle, your silence at the dinner table. You let it go because family is family. Ask yourself, am I keeping peace? Or am I keeping quiet because I'm afraid of being seen as difficult? One is maturity, the other is surrender. A man who abandons his own judgment to preserve comfort is not at peace, he is imprisoned. Seneca wrote about something he called the animus immotus, the immovable mind. The mental state of a man so anchored in his values that no external pressure can move him. This is not coldness, this is not arrogance, this is the calm of a man who knows exactly who he is, and therefore knows exactly what he will and will not accept. Set bounds on what disturbs your mind. Associate with those who are likely to make you better. Welcome those you are capable of making better. Practical Stoic boundary setting comes down to 3 moves. First, name your values before any confrontation. Know your non-negotiables: respect, honesty, accountability. These are your anchor points. When someone violates them, you're not reacting emotionally, you're enforcing a known standard. Second, Speak once clearly. Epictetus was blunt. Don't moralize repeatedly. Say what needs to be said once, with calm authority. Repeating it, escalating it, justifying it, that's desperation, not strength. One clear statement, then silence. Let it land. Third, enforce through action, not anger. The Stoic boundary is not a threat, it's a fact. If this continues, I will remove myself from this situation. Not shouted, not dramatic, just true. And then, if it continues, you do exactly that. No second warnings, no emotional scenes. You act in alignment with what you said. The strength of a man's boundary is measured by whether he enforces it. Remember Daniel? He didn't leave his business partner dramatically. He didn't send a long email. He didn't explode. One day, when the partner questioned him in front of a client again, Daniel paused, felt the familiar pull to explain himself, and for the first time, he chose not to. He looked at his partner and said, calmly, "We can revisit this privately. Let's focus on the client." Later, one-on-one, he said, "This dynamic doesn't work for me. It changes now, or we restructure the partnership." No anger, no lengthy justification, no apology for the boundary itself. The partner pushed back, called him cold, said he was overreacting. Daniel didn't take the bait. He'd already done the Stoic work. He knew what was in his control. He knew his values. He'd spoken once, clearly. 3 months later, they restructured. Daniel lost some revenue short-term. He gained something worth far more, his own respect. Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect. That's the Stoic truth about boundaries. They're not about controlling others. They're not about winning an argument. They're about staying true to the man you've decided to be, regardless of pressure, regardless of guilt, regardless of the cost of losing someone's approval. Manipulation only works on a man who isn't anchored. Anchor yourself. You are not here to be endlessly patient with people who abuse your patience. You are not here to explain your boundaries to people committed to misunderstanding them, and you are not here to shrink yourself so that others remain comfortable. The Stoics didn't preach weakness dressed as virtue. They preached discipline, clarity, self-mastery. Start there. The rest follows. If this hit different, drop. I choose my response in the comments. I read every single one. Subscribe if you're serious about this work. New videos every week. No filler, no fluff. See you in the next one. Stay grounded.